Hey guys, Mount Vernon Kid here coming to you again. How's everybody doing? Apologize for the extreme lateness for this episode of my comic review. As you see, Mr. Orpheus is still not back. He'll be back soon. He informed me he'll be back soon. And I told him once again, take as much time as you need it. For all those who don't know, Mr. Orpheus is the gentleman who introduces me. But like I said, I apologize for the extreme lateness. Something very important came up, had to deal with it. Life outside of YouTube. You know, got a life. But as always, I'm here to deliver the books that came out last week. Um, I will be picking up my books that came out this week um, later on before this video goes up. But I'm here to deliver the books that came out last week. And so always we're going to start with DC, middle wise with Independent, and end it with Marvel for the month of October. So let's kick it off with none other than Batwoman, number 13. J.H. William III and W. Haddon Blacksmith. Um, this was great. This was really great. You've probably seen my mentor, Blue Goblins. Check out his channel. You've probably seen his review. And this was really good. If I do believe this is the first team up between Batwoman and um, Wonder Woman. This was really good. The chemistry between them was very fun and decent, well written, well drawn as well. Uh, it did seem that um, uh, Katie was kind of like a little giddy around Wonder Woman, because of her. She's looking at her like, oh yeah, she's. I thought that was really. She felt like she was a kid in the candy store with Wonder Woman, but this was fun. It really was, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. I do agree it was felt a little rushed because almost all the DC books that I picked up, or I should say these DC books that came out last week, have a little preview of the Superman that's coming soon. But yeah, it was good nonetheless. Very good. All right, so let's move on to Birds of Prey, number 13. Um, so Dwayne Swinski still does a very good job, in my opinion, with the birds. We do know that Poison Ivy is no longer on the team. The girls are still recovering from what happened in the last issue, before the Zero issue. Katana, a group known as the Dagger Clan, has stolen the her blade, her sword, who supposedly has her dead husband in it. Now, the Soul Taker in the pre-52 universe was a mystic sword that held the souls of all the people it slain in there. But in this universe, in this version, we don't know if that's true or not. But Katana is gonna go at nothing to get her sword back, and kind of at some point, the girls don't really believe her too much. They're like, it's just a sword, Katana, and she goes on her own to do it. But later on, the girls do come and help her, but they're still recovering from what happened to them, what Poison Ivy did to them. But yeah, Ivy is no longer on the team. Kind of sucks. I thought they would have kept her on the team a little bit longer. But it still was good nonetheless. And it does make you wonder how long, who's gonna, because we did see Katana is gonna be on the Justice League of America. So it makes you wonder, will she still be on this team, or will she be ousted out as well? Come when is it, February or so, when that book comes out? I'm not sure, but other than that, it was still good. The action was still good. Everything. I love seeing the girls get nitty and gritty and break faces and take names. Just good stuff. And besides, seeing Dana hit people with her canary cry, that's magic. um, Blue Beetle, 13. Yeah, three more to go before this bad boy is discontinued. You get this, DC, for doing that. Yeah, fuck you, okay? Um, um, all right. Besides that, Tony Bedard still is telling the story of Jaime. He is now on the Scarab, the basically the home world of Scarab, and pretty much the Scarab is telling him everything, the history of it and everything. Him finding that there are other people, other hosts, and they're attacking Hyman, so he has to defend himself. However, as you can see, Sky Witness returns and he wants his armor back. Now, in the Zero issue, we saw that the Scarab was once held by a Mayan or Inca warrior. His name was Sky Witness, and he comes back and he is looking for the armor. However, the we get to see that one of the individuals of the Reach is telling them that I don't want to hurt you, Jaime Reyes. I want your help because we're going to destroy the Reach home world. And it's like, okay, that's a little interesting. But other than that, it was fine. I'm just a little upset to hear the bad news that Jaime is getting canceled. I'm hoping once again that they do not forget the character and just put him in that comic book void that I like to say, where they don't use him or use other characters. Yeah. So, but once again, DC, you get this for that. Sorry. You know, no, sorry. I'm being honest. You get that for canceling Jaime. All right. Yes, indeed. I was looking forward to this, and you guys have probably heard Mr. Orpheus talk about this a lot. And yeah, DC Universe presents Black Lightning and Blue Devil. Yes, yes. um, Mr. Jefferson Pierce makes his DC 52 debut, but not just him, a couple other characters like the Blue Devil and another character, Tobias Whale. Yes. So, Marka and Andreyok, I hope I'm saying your name right. Robinson Roca is the artist on this, and his artwork was really good. So, it seems that the story takes place in LA, and we see a drug deal going down, and pretty much it's interrupted by Blue Devil. Now, do they keep the concept of the Blue Devil at first being it was just a suit that he put on? Yes, they do keep a concept of that. However, when he's fighting these drug dealers, who else is there? Black Lightning, and he comes along, and we see Jefferson get into action, and then these two, a typical, I don't know you could be a bad guy, mistaken identity comes into fruition, and they fight. Black Lightning believes that Blue Devil is working with Tobias Whale, and unfortunately, he's telling him, "I'm not with Whale. I'm actually against him." So, kind of a allegiance. Well, allegiance is not started here, but we do get to see a little bit more in depth. Jefferson still is a teacher. He's a teacher. Black Lightning is a teacher when he's not as Black Lightning. His costume is not that different from his his pre 52 costume. The only difference is he has hair again. He's not bald. He has like these kind of shades that go across his eyes, as you can see. Um, he's still pretty badass. I mean, he was dodging all of Blue Devil's attacks, no problem. He seems to be very much in tune with his powers. It's not like he's doing them for the first time. So pretty much everything about Black Lightning is intact, and some of Blue Devil as well. But it's not based in because actually Jefferson is supposed to be from the suicide slums of Metropolis, and he teach there. But we don't know if they don't really go into detail if he moved to LA from Metropolis or not. But Tobias Whale still looks as he's supposed to be. He's pale skin, kind of big, and things like that. But it was great. I did enjoy this, and can't wait to read. I think this is a 5-part series for these two, but it's thank you DC finally for putting one of my favorite DC characters in the 52 Black Lightning. Thank you. All right. Green Lantern New Guardians number 13. This is their take into the rise of the Third Army. Now let me get a little bit started with the rise of the third army. So far we really haven't I have not really been impressed too much with what these white things are doing. You know, I'm just like, okay, what is the purpose of this? That's just me. But in this issue, we know that Kyle is able to tap into the other emotions of different chords. And in this issue, we see him being trained to tap into rage. And who better to teach him but Atrocitus? And Atrocitus, oh my God, you talk about a strict, hardcore teacher, Atrocitus. He just really takes Kyle and just whew. We do get more of Kyle's backstory in this, and I, like my mentor said, I do agree that Kyle's backstory has not been really tweaked or twisted. We see a lot of his a certain lover he had that passed away and everything like that. And does Kyle tap into that rage? Oh yeah, he does, and whew, it was interesting, but it was good, very much good, and it kind of leaves the ramifications of will Kyle use that from time to time. But it was good nonetheless. It goes on to say Kyle's like we're going to see our killer our killer. I'm always pronouncing this guy's name wrong. He's going to tap into fear next. But other than that, this was good. Just that the Third Army, you know, is kind of. um, Next up, with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This is issue 3. Keith Giffen is writing this issue, as well as Phil, Philip Tan is still the artist on this. So, as we all know, Prince Adam slash He-Man and pretty much almost all his allies of Eternia have been cursed and they've lost their memory. They don't know who they are. In this issue, we see Teela and Adam on a ship. Teela's still trying to go over details with him and everything like that. He's just really not believing kind of anything Teela is telling him. In the meantime, in Castle Grayskull, Skeletor has the sorceress, and she's like almost in a comatose state, like she's like really like out there, and he's talking. It's really creepy, kind of how Skeletor. He's like, "My dear sorceress, you haven't eaten," and it just comes off really necrophiliac and crazy and stuff like that. But since Skeletor's minions have failed to slay Adam slash He-Man, he's he taps another one of his evil warriors, and that is none other since they're over the water. Who better to go after him but none other than Merman? Yes, Merman. As you can see, that is a badass cover. Um, Even though He-Man is not in this, but the cover is cool. Merman does attack Adam and Teela on board the ship, and Adam has to deal with Merman. And remember, he's on Merman's territory. He's not dealing with Merman on land, pretty much. So it kind of leaves you like he's kind of in a mismatch because, in a sense, Adam doesn't remember how to sword fight. He really thinks he's just a woodsman. So, but it was still great. I still enjoyed it. I can't wait to see how this wraps up and how Adam is gonna get his memory back. I think it's a 5-part miniseries, but of course, you guys know He-Man is one of my childhood memories of growing up as a kid. I'm a child of the '80s, dude. people. And so, I used to watch He-Man when I was a kid. So um, I'm gonna pick up anything He-Man. And besides, he's celebrating his 30th anniversary. Way to go. Oops, sorry. Let's see. We're moving on to next DC book, Nightwing, number 13. And who is on that cover? One of my favorite DC female villains, Lady Shiva. Thank you, DC. That's the good part. The bad part about it is she's not really in this book too much until the end. But that got my mouth really watering for a confrontation between Dick and Lady Shiva, round two. Now remember, in the zero issue of Nightwing, we found out that Dick did uh, came across Shiva when he was Robin, and she beat him, but he's like, my skills are at best. However, this still kind of takes place between the Joker returning and Robin. I mean, Dick, excuse me, does go on to talk about, I can't believe he's back and everything like that. He talks to Batgirl, and she's in a rush. He's like, he's back, and he's trying to confront her like, how you doing, everything. And she's like really kind of being a little bit of a, I don't want to call Babs a, but she's kind of being a little bitch about it. Like, I understand that, this is the guy that crippled you and everything like that, but you're taking your anger out on the wrong people. And that's what she kind of does. She kind of takes her anger out on him, and be like, you're not going to help me anyway. I can't trust you. I can't work with you, everything like that. So I'll do this on my own. You're always looking forward, Dick, not looking back and everything. It was just like, Babs, why are you doing this? Like, Dick's just trying to help, you know. And once again, the whole notion, Penguin telling everybody that, look, this assassin, and they still play up the fact that she is one of the best assassins in the game. Her her hair is tied up along with like these like spikes, as you can see around her. So she doesn't if she doesn't want to get too close to her target, she just lets her hair and like wrap around the guy and just slices their throat. We saw one guy do it to one guy. It was just like all brutal. But we she she still lives up to the notion of she's the best and deadliest assassin. But it was still, we didn't get to see her a lot, and that's all. But I'm looking forward to a confrontation. Tom DeFalco is actually the guest writer on this, and he does a pretty good job. Not at all, not bad at all. All right, believe it or not, I was actually pretty. This was actually pretty good. Um, Justice League, number 13. Cheetah Strikes. Yes, the 52 debut of Cheetah. Jeff Johns and Tony Daniels is the artist on this. Um, they keep kind of Cheetah's origin kind of what Barbara Minerva Cheetah's origin kind of the same. There was a ritual. She became this way. She loves it though. Wonder Woman wants to help her turn back to normal, but Barbara's like, screw you. I love what I am, and she is fierce. I'm talking fierce. We do get a little bit more of, the kiss heard around the net and everything like that. And Superman and Wonder Woman, like, it was just a kiss. Wonder Woman's like, but Superman is like, but it was good. And Wonder Woman says, yeah, it was good. Um, and of course, we get a little bit more in depth with Cyborg, what his character is like. He goes on to talk about, if the team kind of disbands, like, he has really no place to go. He's starting to feel that he's more machine than man, because they always Flash asks him like, when we're all doing everything, what are you doing up here in the Watchtower besides helping? He's like, besides getting myself, upgrading myself and reading this and helping out Batman, pretty much nothing. So there's kind of a chemistry, there's kind of a slow friendship building between Barry and Victor, which is fine to me because Hal is gone, and they also Wonder Woman's kind of on this take of, you know what, she's kind of doing a Batman like Minerva, Cheetah is my enemy. I don't help you, Superman, when you're dealing with Lex Luthor. I don't help you, Batman, when you're doing. But the team is like, look, we want to help Diana. Let us help you. And they're like, okay. And let's just say it don't really go too well because Cheetah, she takes on the entire league by herself. They really up Cheetah's ante. She takes on Flash. She nearly she stops Flash in his tracks. She stops Batman. She bites Superman in the neck, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at right there, because something happens with Superman when she bites him. And then there's the backstory of what's gonna happen. Stephen Trevor and Green Arrow. The build up to Justice League of America. But this was actually good. I'm not gonna lie, it was good. Not bad, Johns. You know. Next up, Supergirl 13. Um, this is basically Mike Johnson tells the story of basically Supergirl and her encounter with the new improved Tycho that we saw way back in the first issue. And we also see that Supergirl pretty much gets her own Fortress of Solitude deep in the ocean. It's in the ocean, actually. It's not in the North Pole like Superman's. It's in the ocean. And it talks to her and everything like that. It talks to her in her father's voice, so it was kind of fun. That's pretty much it. The fight between her and Tycho was but other than that, Supergirl gets her own Fortress of Solitude in a sense. Um, that's cool. Um, and last but not least, Wonder Woman, number 13. Brian Azzarello still tells a pretty decent job, in my opinion. The path of war is coming, in a sense. We all know that Hera is mortal now, and Zola and her are not getting along, and things like that. And Wonder Woman got to kind of play peacemaker between all of them. It's really interesting, but it was fun nonetheless. Um, and she, um, Ares is kind of starting something that he shouldn't be. But I still have been enjoying Brian Azzarello's take on Wonder Woman. It has not been bad to me, but that's just me. Other people might see it differently. Okay, so that's all DC. Yeah, that was a lot of DC, guys. But hey, like I said, two JOBs. So the we move on to independent, and I got a few independent books for you. Okay, we got two from Dynamite, one from IDW, one from Valiant, and I've got finally one from Top Cow. Yeah. Um. So let's start it off with Cyberforce #1. Yes. For those who don't know, I'm a huge Cyberforce fan. And this was free actually. I got this for free. Top Cow has been given is I think is going to give the first two issues of the series for free. Mark Silverstern and Matt Hackins brings back the team, and they bring him back in an interesting way. It seems that the team they're renegades now. They're kind of on the run, but everybody's there. Cyblade, 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 Cyberclaw. All those people are back. Aphrodite, Four. They're all here. Um, and they're dealing, and it's kind of really interesting. The world is a little differently now for the team, but it kind of ends on a big cliffhanger, like, no way. Now, the question really is, how long is Mark Silverstone going to stay on this book? I mean, this is his baby, and I know that, but how long will he stay as artist? Because we know, he'll do 3 issues and I'm done. We all know that's kind of Silverstone's MO. It's kind of funny, but the first issue was really good. It Top Cow, is good stuff. I saw this and I was like, Cyberforce, and the owner of my comics like, here, it's free, you can take it. I'm like, what? Took that? Save me some money. But um, next up, Green Hornet, number 29. Now, from what I hear, sometime next year or so, Mark Waid is supposed to start writing Green Hornet. I look at that like, cool. Now, the thing about it is, I think he's writing the fathers of these two, Britt Reed Jr. and Mulan. So it's the original Kato and the original Green Hornet. So, but in this issue, we're seeing a new player slowly once again being built up into a new crime boss being built up for Century City, and he slowly is putting his mark on the town by shooting the new mayor, killing him. In the meantime, Mulan and Britt, their feelings are kind of starting to, get there, because they kind of they kiss, and then it's like, and they're on a stakeout too, and they're looking at each other like, hey, you want to make out? They're not doing anything right now, so let's make out, go home. You know, they Brit hits those panties, and next thing you know, Mulan is like, it was a mistake. Bummer. Like, oh man, like what? But that's pretty much it. It does make you wonder, like, what's gonna happen next, and who is this major player that's coming? I believe that's someone on the cover. Could be wrong, but he's setting his mark by shooting and killing the new elected mayor of Century City. Green Hornet. I've always said, if you're not reading Green Hornet or not reading anything from Dynamite, jump on board. You will not be disappointed. Next up, uh, Peter Cannon, Thunderbolt, number 2. Alex Ross and dang, I'm forgetting who else is co-writing this. Still continues the story of Thunderbolt, and we get more of a backstory, more into him in terms of where he grew up, everything like that. He tells the story of that his parents died early. He grew up in a monastery, and he kind of prefers being out there in the monastery out instead of being in the modern world, because he feels that they, as the modern world, we have not really opened and tapped into our true potential in terms of, you know brain matter and things like that. We're greedy, we're still with war, things like that. And that's pretty much this. We're still more getting into it, but then it gets to the point where he's on a trip to Japan and he gets kidnapped by, seems to be a new player that wants him. And but it was fine, still fine. All right, and moving on to IDW, Chuck Dixon, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, Target Snake Eyes Part 2. Yeah, as we all know, Cobra has said, gave a big fuck you to the Oroshikage, and they're at war with the Oroshikage. So they've been kidnapping all the other masters of the Oroshikage, the hard master, soft master, people like that. And still, people still thinking Snake Eyes is not really a part of the Oroshikage as Storm Shadow think he is. And it's true, he's not. Snake Eyes is not with the Roshikage for because he wants to. He's trying to bury them from the inside out. But however, the Joes have got with that Snake Eyes is alive, and they've noticed that they got recon intel that he's with their Roshikage. So they Scarlet has said, you know, we got to bring him in, and that's kind of what this leads into. But it also leads into some serious blow to the Roshikage in terms of one of the masters of the Roshikage has decided to pull a Benedict Arnold in a sense and join Cobra. And they're really saying the Roshikage is nothing. This is who you really should be going after. Who's on the cover? Snake Eyes. Yeah. Um, but good stuff. All right. Valiant Comics, Exo Man of War #6. Uh, Pretty much everything that they say on this cover. Brutal, mysterious, and full of heart. Make room on your pull list for this book. I definitely agree with that. This is an excellent book. So Arik has been captured by Ninjak here. The armor is off of him, the Manowar armor, and the Vine, the alien race that created the armor, has told Ninjak to bring him in. We're going to deal with him. You don't have to deal with him. Bring him in so we'll deal with it. However, one of the members of the Vine, I think he's a human hybrid of the Vine or so, or he's just a human that works with them. He helps Arik get out of it, and then there's a fight that goes on between. So this cover is pretty much accurate. However, Ninjak, it seems that Ninjak is not really capable of handling it. I mean, he's throwing shurikens at, and shurikens just bouncing right off of Arik in the armor, and he's like, "Yeah, come fight me, coward!" And he's like, "Now you ain't got no place to run, coward," because they're on a ship while they're fighting. They're on a plane, and Ninjak's like, "I wasn't running, just strategically getting you where I want you," and it kind of gets that motion. However, the sympathizer or the human that was a part of the Vine tells Arik that, look, the Vine are coming after you, and the Earth is in trouble. It's kind of your fault that the Earth is in trouble. The moment you came into this century, they followed you no matter what. So he basically tells he tells uh, Eric Aulick that, look, we need your help, and we need Ninjak's help. You two have got to put your differences aside to help us help the Earth against the Vine. But I think there's going to be another confrontation before they might, quote unquote, team up. But so far, Valiant Comics has been doing very good. Do I have to keep repeating myself, guys? If you're not on board with Valiant Comics, you're kind of scared, like, I don't know. Trust me, don't be. Um, there's only two Valiant comics that I'm reading: Exo Man, Man of War, and uh, Bloodshot. The next one I'll probably put on my that I am gonna pull on my pull list is Shadow Man. I'm looking forward to that. So that's all the DC and independent. Let's move on to let's end it with Marvel. All right, and we'll kick this off with Avengers versus X versus A versus X Consequences #2. Gillian is still just showing once again how much of a complete son of a bitch Scott Summers is. And I'm sorry for all you Cyclops fans out there. Yes, he is a son of a bitch in this book. So now, as you know, Cyclops is in this undisclosed prison. Wolverine comes to see him because Cap talked to Wolverine about, look, go to him and try to get him to find where the other members of the Phoenix Five are. because he's not gonna. We can't find them now. Basically, other people who waved his flag, like Storm and Psylocke and people like that, and other members that were part of his group, that were on Cyclops' side, have turned themselves in, and they've gained, they've gotten, you know, for basically they've done their whatever they needed to, and they've gained amnesty or something like that. It's explained in this book. Wolverine tells it. However, they can't find Magic, Colossus, Namor, and people like that, Danger, and people like those kind of peoples. And Cyclops is like, you're not gonna find them. And he's like, and Wolverine's like, what the fuck, yo, come on, like, tell us. And Wolverine's just there drinking, and he's like, look. So Cyclops just starts hitting it, because the first thing Wolverine asks him is about Chuck, and Cyclops is like, look, I did what I had to do, and I'm like, you did what you had to do, and he's like, look, I wasn't in control, and I'm like, maybe, but you did it anyway, and that's what Wolverine says. You did it anyway. He starts pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to the point where he finally says something about Jean, and says this and that. Just Wolverine just loses. Wolverine breaks the table and lunges at him, and it looks like Wolverine's gonna kill him. Unsheathes the claws, and he's like, and all of a sudden, Wolverine is like, wait a minute, you want this? You want me to kill you? And he's like, yeah. Basically, Cyclops wants to be remembered wants to be a martyr, and it was just like, oh my god, you know. And so Wolverine was like, fuck you, Cyclops, go to hell. I've been there, I'm here now. And it was just like, but it was still good, but still, Cyclops, one piece of shit. I'm sorry. And once again, for all you Cyclops fans, you're not gonna like that. But to me, yes, Cyclops is a piece of shit right now. Yeah. Um, Daredevil, number 19, Mark Waid. I don't even have to say, still been doing a fantastic job on this book. Yeah, get a look at that cover. Meet Coyote. Coyote seems to be the man responsible for messing with Matt's head, in terms of making him thinking that things are there and things are not. Matt has been foggy. Matt, even a lot of people, are starting to think that he's going insane. And we kind of get to see this in this book. Coyote seems to have kind of almost the same abilities, but a little bit more deadlier, like the Spot. And that cover pretty much sums up. Yeah, you see him holding Matt's head. Yeah, he's holding Matt's head. He somehow was able to decapitate Matt from his body, and Matt can still plainly see where he's at. Now, we don't know if this is in his head or not, but it ended with that. And he tells him, I'm Coyote. And it's like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, it seems like a new player for the Daredevil rogues. All right. Moving on to pretty much, I have to admit, it's just a fun book, and probably because of the fact that, once again, the guy is not writing Hawkeye. He's writing Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. Yeah, Hawkeye number 3. Fraction. Basically, this is basically Katie Bishop, who was the um, Hawkeye on the Young Avengers, which she will be back on the Young Avengers when they bring it back in soon. There, she's telling Clint that we need this, we need that, and Clint's not really listening because he's rearranging his arrows, all his different kind of trick arrows. And Katie's like, this is, why are you doing that? That's so stupid. And she's even saying, like, why do you have all these trick arrows? And she was like, "What's this? What arrow is this?" And he's like, "That's my net arrow." And she's like, "A net arrow? Really? That's so old school." Hey, like, hey, it's really funny. And then it gets to the point where she says, "What's this arrow?" "My boomerang arrow." And she's like, "A boomerang arrow? Why would you need a boomerang arrow? Why do you need a boomerang arrow, Clint? It'll come back to you. It's so cool." Now remember what I just said, boomerang arrow. Um, in the meantime, Clint goes out to get the stuff that Katie said she needs. And in the meantime, he sees this 1970s Thunderbird Charger, 1970 Thunderbird Charger. I think that's what the car was. And he's like, "Oh my God." And the woman, this redhead, is selling it. And he's like, "Look, if you stay right here, I'll go get the money and I'll buy it from you." And things get a little bit interesting from there. But we find Clint is asking why the girl is in a hurry, why she wants to leave New York and everything like that. And she's like, "If I can't lie to you, I'll tell you." And it gets a little bit from there. They start being chased by this gang that looks like something out of Speed Racer. I'm not even joking, but it's kind of funny. But still, all of a sudden, Katie and Clint are helping this girl try to get away from these guys. And while they're driving on the streets of New York in the car, Clint is using all his trick arrows on the gang, and he's taking out a lot of them. And then all of a sudden, the end of it is where he gets knocked out by one of them, spoiling this guy, sorry. And Katie is with the arrow. She's with the arrow, and he wakes up, and the Clint says, "Shoot the arrow, Katie." She shoots it, and which arrow do you think it was? Yeah, the boomerang arrow. It comes back and hits the guy right in the back of the head, and that was funny. And even Katie was like, "Okay, boomerang arrow. It was cool." But it just shows you it shows you a lot of stuff that what kind of arrows Clint's got. He's got a sonic arrow, a suction cup arrow, uh, a laser beam arrow, all kinds of stuff. I was like, oh God, but it was fun. It was fun. Like I said, he's writing it to be fun, and he's writing it what Clint is doing when he's not Hawkeye the Avenger, and that's fine. Uh, Captain Marvel, number 5, Terry Dobson. As you can see, the artist on the cover. I like Terry Dobson's artwork. I don't mind it. Um, but inside, Susan DeConnick still is telling the story of what I've keep tweeting to her. She's the time travel stuff. I'm glad she's kind of getting it out of the way right at the beginning, because sometimes time travel stories kind of But the artist on this Rios, his artwork is pretty okay for this book. I don't hate it, but basically, Carol is still in time somewhere, and she's seeing her mentor at her prime, but she knows that she can't really tell her anything. But without spoiling too much, there's a situation that needs dire need, and before she zips to another time, in a sense. Um, but it was fun nonetheless. Susan DeConnick still is just doing a very good job. Uh, Miss Kelly Sue is just really doing a good job, just making this book fun. And we're 5 down, and let's just hope it keeps going. Because once again, like I said, if you look at the books that Marvel is putting out that have the females that lead, there's only 2: Carol and Betty Ross She-Hulk. She Betty Ross read She-Hulk, took over, has her own book. All right. So the next book is none other than New Avengers 31. Yeah, Bendis is, this is Bendis's final run on New Avengers as well. All right. So this is picking up right after right after um Avengers, happened after in Avengers versus X-Men. Luke Cage is moving out of the Avengers mansion, even though they're going on saying, but you bought it, Luke. This is your home and everything like that. And, this is still coming from that ramification of, him quitting the team. And the team is really like, yo, Luke, why are you leaving? Most of us are here because you wanted us here, including Daredevil and people like that. Daredevil even goes and says, like, you offered me a spot on this team. Now you're quitting. And kind of we're starting to see that Jessica Jones Cage, Luke's wife, is really starting to feel it as well and be like, they all hate me now because I'm the one that's kind of pushed it for Luke to quit. Danny's taking it very hard. That's his friend. That's his best friend right there. Um, and this is the first time that the team is officially really seeing Carol in this costume. So a lot of them like, hey, what the heck? And she even says, I go into Captain Marvel now. And it's kind of funny. But lo and behold, Victoria Hand is going around capturing slash knocking out or killing mystical characters in the Marvel Universe. Damien Hellstrom, Son of Satan, uh, other people like that. She's taking them out now, but unfortunately, we figure out that that is not Victoria. She's possessed by somebody. But yeah, it seems that that's where it's going to go. They're going to end it with some mysticism. As you can see, Doctor Strange on the cover. But it's really hard to see that, you know, Luke is leaving the team. But now I can understand why. Now it makes sense. In the first issue of Uncanny Avengers, we saw uh, Cap and Thor with Havoc in the Avengers mansion, and it looks like nobody's been there for a while. See, so continuity, you know. uh, Ultimate Spider-Man, all new Spider-Man, number 16. Bendis and Lares is the artist on this. Basically, let's put it like this: Miles has he went to see Nick Fury or whoever and told him he's ready to join the Ultimates or the Avengers. He runs into Captain America. Captain America's like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here, kid!" Blah blah blah. He's also saying, "Look, I'm here for duty, sir." And he's like, hell no, get the hell out. You're only 13. And this Cap kind of is a little bit more foul mouthed and he curses a lot. And he's like, get out of here. Your mother, fucking, you're fucking 13 years old and everything like that. All of a sudden, they get hit. Shield headquarters gets hit by Hydra. And Miles kind of proves himself right there and then that he's ready to join the Ultimates. And even Cap even says, you know what, kid? You're right. I apologize. You are capable of handling yourself. You even helped Cap. And uh, the rest of the Avengers are like, Thor and Spider Girl, or yeah, Spider Girl, Spider Woman are like, congratulations. And then and behold, even during that time, afterwards, Miles talks to his mom and things like that. It was kind of reminiscent. It was kind of funny because it reminded me of Peter Parker and Aunt May. And his mom was like, "Miles, why is your voice so muffled?" Lifts his mask up. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's nostalgic." And then Tony Stark comes and says, "Kid, you're gonna want to see this." And basically, spoiler alert: Captain America has been elected President of the United States in the Ultimate Universe, and he says he accepts the role. Interesting, right? All right, move on to Venom number 26. Okay, first thing, Cullen Bunn has been doing a pretty good job. Cullen Bunn has said he's going to keep up with he's going to more keep up with the the crime based uh, you know, the more street level stories after Minimum Carnage finishes up with Venom. So, but he does plan to go back into maybe touching a little bit more on the whole demon stuff again, but for the time being, he says more of the street level, crime level stuff, and that's fine. But in this issue, Venom, Scarlet Spider, they're all in a microverse, and a lot of the people there don't want none of them there, and it's really, really dire. You know, Venom's dealing with this, Carnage is doing this, and Kane, Scarlet Spider, is about to get killed by giant amoebas, as he said, and he's got to fight, keep himself alive. But this has been really fun. The next issue, part 4, picks up in Scarlet Spider, but Carnage is back, and he's pretty much been living up to that Carnage that I remember from the 90s, in a sense. All right. You still with me, guys? All right. And last but not least, X Factor, issue 245. Peter David, yes, my mentor has gotten me saying no slouch, and he's right. Peter David is no slouch on this book, and Breaking Point, no, day 5. The cover kind of solidifies a little bit. Basically, Teresa, however, Banshee is gone. She is now the new Morgan, you know, strong guy, gone. Ronnie said she's gonna stay, you know, to protect her son, and a lot of things, like the team is pretty much getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and Magic is really pissed off at Alex about that. And what we find out also, this kind of takes place kind of where Alex is about to go onto the team. He feels that he doesn't belong with the X Factor. Lorna, on the other hand, feels that she's happy where she is, even though she's been through some dark times not too long ago. But she wants to stay. As for Alex, he's like, look, I can't stay here. Richter and who's that? Shatterstar, they come back. They're back on the team, but it gets a little dire for a cent. But it was fun nonetheless. One of my favorite scenes was Alex. He was packing up some of his bags, Havoc, and he looks at his costume, and he's like, "They're right. I do look like Tron." So he throws it down. Another fun part was the fact where Lorna, she changes her costume too. She changes her outfit. She says, "I was tired of looking like a reject from 1968." And I started laughing. I thought that was funny. Her costume is pretty different. It still has the green, it has purple and black in it. Matter of fact, let me show you what she looks like, her outfit now. And another funny part to me was where Madrix, Multiple Man, and Layla Miller, he says, "So Layla, you want to get married?" And she's like, "Now?" And she's like, "With me? Yeah. Now? Yeah. Okay." And that was funny. Um, Let me show you what her outfit looks like. Um, let's see. That's her look. That's Polaris's new costume. She looks like that now. Not bad. And then the funniest part is when Alex is leaving, um, he's all like, "The others aren't gonna see me off," and Lorna's like, they're kind of busy." And look what they're busy at about to do to Alex. You got a long shot, Richter, Shatterstar, and Monet up there about to drop water balloons on on Alex. But this was good. This is really good. Now it makes you wonder how the team is going to get, the team that's going to move on forward with the team, and I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, indeed, very much indeed. I really enjoyed it. Peter David, as my mentor said, as my mentor Blue Goblin says, do not take him off this book, Marvel. He has, I don't see anybody structuring the book better than him. It's just perfect the way it is. But that's it. That is all the books for this week, and I hope you guys stayed with me for last week. Those are all the books. Once again, I apologize for the lateness, but I will be heading out to my local comic store today to pick up my books for this week, and of course, the next episode should be up as always, as it's always supposed to be, as it always is, usually Sunday or Saturday. So other than that, you guys take care. I will see you guys later this week, and to the next episode. I'm sorry, guys. I had to get that out, but I'll see you guys to the next episode. Y'all guys take care.